So thank you for speaking with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice. It'll be good to have a chat.
Absolutely, no worries. I have a question for you. You've said before that COVID has accelerated some of the trends that we were already seeing in retail. And so I was wondering, is there something that, if anything, has there been any unexpected trends or side effects of this year?
So it's maybe not a side effect, but something interesting that's happened. It feels like there's quite a backlash towards omnichannel, but actually, I feel that this year, more than any other year, the value of omnichannel retailing has been proven. That at the very start of COVID, we saw online sales go up a fair amount, but actually the online sales of businesses that had websites and stores went up more than 4 times the amount of than compared to retailers who just had websites. So we've also seen that omnichannel businesses were able to fulfill orders at a fraction of the cost compared to e-commerce only businesses. So yeah, omnichannel businesses both sell more. They can fulfill orders for almost 10% of the cost of e-commerce only businesses in some cases. So those are the real basics of why you'd want to invest in omnichannel retailing. But there's a million more stats that I could give you, but it's the model that works in retail. And we believe that retailers should be pushing forward as much as they can in this space. Maybe retailers are just sick of people literally using the word omnichannel, but it's a helpful word. So
Absolutely.
we'll call it whatever, but I think people should be investing more in these blended retail concepts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it kind of describes the wider trend of those businesses that were already set up digitally, already online, and that had really strong processes to, as you said, fulfill more orders. And it kind of is reflective that those companies are better set up with their e-commerce operations to be able to actually use that harness the omni-channel. Yeah, I hadn't experienced that backlash. Where did that one come from? Does that answer?
That has just come from us talking to some clients and people just saying they're sick of talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, or people like we'll present on a webinar and people will say they're tired of talking about it. But I also feel that, like, you read some surveys where it says 75% of retailers now are doing omnichannel or something. Like, yeah, basically fully tick the omnichannel box. And quite a long time ago, I realized that omnichannel is a bit like a monk trying to achieve enlightenment. More, like, it's always worth spending time on, but there will never be a day where, as a retailer, you can say, tick, I've achieved omnichannel. There's always more you can do to weave your channels together better. So I guess click and collect is the first part of that journey, but there's some amazing brands completely rethinking what omnichannel can be, how you can link channels together in way more useful and creative ways. So, and yes, some omnichannel functionality that we're going to see in a few years hasn't been invented yet. So it's just, yeah, always evolving. Retailers always need to keep up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really important as well, a constant focus on it to keep up with the trends. I mean, it's like keeping up with technology. It's like saying, I've got a mobile, I'm done.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Cate, where are you placing your bets for retail trends for 2021? Sorry.
It has been a strange run, so I don't blame you for getting confused. Yeah, so I think the one that we're going to see move at the fastest rate is resale, which already has a huge amount of momentum behind it. I think next year is the year that it's really going to come into the mainstream. So, and interestingly, it's actually being driven by consumers more than brands. So I think consumers are more interested in sustainability than they've ever been. Of course, there's a whole set of consumers now who are extremely price focused or focused on saving money wherever they can.
Yeah.
And so those are the two big drivers of this trend. We've obviously got sites such as Depop and Poshmark where people are able to sell items between each other, but now brands want to take part in this. They want to be able to let customers bring things back to them and take part in this, rapidly growing market. So in fashion, I think resale is growing 21 times faster than the overall fashion market.
Wow. Okay.
In refurbished electronics is going to double in size in the next 5 years, I think. Refurbished or secondhand furniture is doing a similar thing. So in a whole variety of categories, people are far more interested in, resold or secondhand items. But the challenge for retailers in this is a completely different business model for them. So they're used to making things, selling them, and basically not having to worry about what happens next.
Yeah.
But now their stores won't just be places to sell things, they have to be places to take things back. Their staff are going to have to be trained to take things back, to process those, well, not returns, but returned items that will be resold. It's a whole different supply chain that needs to happen in the country where things are being sold. And so this is why a lot of retailers are teaming up with partners who can make this easy for them. I think there are a few businesses. I think H&M are exploring running their own resale channel, but it's not easy to do. So there's a lot of change ahead for retailers there, I think, or retailers who want to do it themselves.
That's incredible. And it's actually really positive to hear that this kind of sustainable approach is being driven by consumer demand and actually being listened to and hopefully taken up by a lot more retailers. So it's a really positive note. We need something positive going into 2021. I think that's it. So brilliant.
It will also be an interesting challenge for retailers, like how they make that truly sustainable for their business. So I'm not sure that they'll be able to turn over the same amounts of money if they're reselling the same item every few months. So we will see, but it's certainly a big change ahead.
So what are the two big trends that brands should consider changing in order to adapt to the changing landscape of e-commerce as we see it as we move into 2021?
So one of the big questions that some of our clients and contacts have been talking to us about is how you can bring more experience into the digital channel. So before COVID, everyone was sold on the fact that the in-person space should be more about helping people connect with the brand and experience the brand, perhaps even more than selling.
Mm-hmm.
And since we've all been locked in our own houses for many months on end, a lot of people are starting to talk about how can we bring similar levels of experience, similar levels of connection into our website and into our app. And it's been quite interesting thinking about this. I think there's a few different ways of doing this. So obviously there's live streaming and the personal shopping or the video appointments that we've seen so many brands take part in. And most of those brands have seen great results, which isn't really a surprise. There are other businesses like Matches and Goop and a whole series of other brands who almost think of themselves as much as media companies as they do retailers. And I mean, Goop is particularly interesting. Everyone loves to laugh at them, but they are their turnover is incredible. They have a fantastic valuation with very few stores, and really how they've got such a big turnover is because they've got content that people look to first, and then they sell a bunch of things off the back of that. We saw Naked Wines have an interesting model too. So they've almost built a social network that focuses on wine. They built that into the website. So, of course, it is a transactional website, but you can connect with the people who make the wine. You can follow other wine drinkers to see what wines they're recommending. It's this whole social group.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Selling wine, yeah. And their share price has maybe doubled. It's gone up a lot since lockdown hit, or lockdown 1 hit. I received a package from Beauty Pie the other day. Have you received?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how when it arrives, there's this lovely moment with the beautiful packaging and and that maybe seems like something that a handful of brands do. It may not seem like the newest thing, but even something like that creates an experience. It creates a moment when you receive the item. And I'm sure we can all think about how many items we've received from the internet during this period. But that one package really sticks in my mind. It felt really special.
Absolutely.
So there's a bunch of, everything from changing your packaging to setting up an incredible social network. All these different concepts are at retailers' disposal. And the good news is I think we're going to see a lot more of this. We've seen a lot of retailers test different things and actually have really good results. So I think they're going to stick with it. Yeah, so that's good. It's nice to see some positive change.
Absolutely, yeah. Really interesting what you said around Beauty Pie, and I think it feels like it's the whole, like you said, the whole experience. They really do focus on having a community that they can rely on, and of course, sort of when you open that box, there is I think it's a card or something that says share Pie Day, something like that, and it brings it all back to being like, oh yeah, this is so beautifully packaged that I want to take a picture of it and share it with my friends. It's kind of, there's the mentality between placing more value on how you present something. But yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. It's all about kind of experience and challenging what we currently think of experience and bringing it, making it more digital, or just making it new, innovative.
Yeah, something a little bit different, something just a little bit more joyful. But
yeah.
there's so many different ways to do it.